Welcome to Behind the Law with Justin Clark, the show that takes you behind the law and answers your toughest legal questions.
And welcome aboard. It's the Behind the Law show featuring Justin Clark of Gregory and Clark Attorneys at Law. You can give us a call right now and participate in the show on radio at 407-297-9696 or 855-297-9696. You're listening in on News 96.5. You're viewing on WRDQ TV 27. The offices of Gregory and Clark are located right in Longwood. You can reach them any day at 321-282-1055, 321-282-1055. And right now, what's on the docket of Justin Clark?
Rob Newton, good to see you. How you doing,
Good to
brother?
see you, my friend.
Thanks for coming out, being with me. Another Sunday.
Good to be here and good to be on television as well.
I know, right? I've got a lot of stuff to talk about today.
Really?
First of all, we want to talk about the extension of the HAMP and HARP program, which was just announced this week, which is it's a pretty big deal for anyone going through trouble paying their mortgage payments. Extended for 2 more years. I'll get into specifics on that later.
Excellent.
I want to talk about some interest rates going up. I know you were talking about this a lot yesterday. The interest rates around here have really skyrocketed over the last, I don't know, just week, really. And it was somewhat unexpected. And I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but we're going to touch into the interest rates going up. I want to talk about a new program Fannie and Freddie have to streamline their modification process. It sounds good. We'll see what it really does in practice, but it sounds like it's a pretty good program. I want to talk about the Trayvon Martin case a little bit. You know, that trial is coming up, and I want to talk about some issues there and courthouse logistical issues for people, anyone who might want to go to the trial, how to get there. So stick around if you want to talk about Trayvon Martin a little bit. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the Florida Fast Track Foreclosure Bill. I know Sherry DeWitt talked about this a couple hours ago here on this station, and I'm not going to rehash everything she said. I'm going to give my own 2 cents on it, and we're waiting on Governor Scott's decision. No one really knows whether he's going to sign this bill into law or if he's going to veto it. I can tell you he has until June 12th to decide. So we'll touch on the Florida foreclosure, fast track foreclosure bill, as I call it, as well. I want to touch a lot of people this week have been talking to me about the fast track foreclosure bill and talking about, well, you know, your clients are deadbeats. I want to kind of debunk that myth a little bit as well for my clients who are having trouble paying their mortgage and show you that they're really not deadbeats, so to speak. And finally, I want to talk about the future of the real estate market here. I have a lot of thoughts on this, a lot of thoughts on what's going on with the inventory now, and should you get into the housing market? Is now the time to jump in or not? I'll give you my thoughts on that. But, you know, let's start with this HAMP-HARP thing, Rob. We've talked about this a million times on this show. It's really 2 completely separate things. HAMP is the Home Affordable Modification Program, meaning you already own your house, you have a mortgage already, and we're trying to change the terms of your existing mortgage. And how do you do that? And what's great about the HAMP program is these banks can go all the way down to a 2% interest rate.
Nice.
So, you know, you might be at 7, 6, 8%, who knows, and they can go all the way down to 2%. Not to be confused with the HARP program, which is the refinance program, which you're seeing a lot of these mortgage guys advertise for right now. That's when you actually do a full refinance of your house, even though it's underwater, and a new lender comes in and pays off the mortgage.
Now, one of the things that you pointed out, which wasn't pointed out anywhere else on radio or any of the newspapers I know about or TV stations, was if you go for a HARP, are you starting all over again? So let's say that you're 12 years into a 30-year mortgage.
Right.
Are you starting back at day one?
Yeah, most of the time you are.
Wow. So, that's a consideration.
Yeah, so you, and typically with a HAMP, while they can extend your repayment terms, they can also keep the terms as they are. So if you only have 15 years left, oftentimes if you do a HAMP modification, you still have 15 years left, although they can extend it to make your payment more affordable. So HAMP and HARP both were set to expire at the end of this year, the end of 2013, done. All of a sudden, and somewhat out of the blue, the White House came in and said, we're going to extend this thing through the end of 2015. And that happened this week. And I think that's very important because there's still a lot of people going through a difficult time right now. Still a lot of people who look at their neighbor and they say, neighbor, you only owe $100,000 in your house. Doesn't have a pool like mine. Smaller than my house, and I owe $300,000. And neighbor, your interest rate's 3%. I'm paying 7%. So this is going to be a way for people to, instead of foreclosure, instead of letting your house go through the entire foreclosure process, which might soon be faster than we want, save your house, lower your interest rate, sometimes even reduce the principal balance on your home to keep you right there in that house. And this has now been extended through 2015. I think this is great news. And I also think it might coincide with an extension of the Mortgage Debt Relief Act, which we talked about a million times at the end of 2012, which says if a bank reduces the principal on your house, you don't pay taxes on it. That's not been extended yet, but I almost think that's going to have to be extended if these programs are as well.
So if somebody wants to get involved in HAMP or HARP, what's their first step? Should they come and find an attorney that can walk them through this?
Absolutely. You don't want to do this kind of thing alone at all. Don't do it. It's a nightmare. You're going to spin your wheels for a year before you actually get any sort of result. And unfortunately, when you're doing it yourself, that result is often sorry, we lost all your paperwork, and you're not going to get the modification. We find when people come to our office, we deal with it together. Let me tell you, I don't do HARP. HARP is for mortgage people, okay? But if someone comes into my office and they're current on their mortgage, and I think HARP is the way to go, do you think I'm going to try to get them to hire me to do HAMP? No, I send them to someone who does the HARP program. Mm-hmm. So you need to talk to someone like me who knows how both of them are done, and I simply know what's the best route for you. Sometimes it's using me to go through the HAMP program to do a modification. Sometimes it's better to do a HARP. A HARP is a more guaranteed program, I guess you would say. But with the interest rates now going up, maybe HAMP is the right way to go.
We're going to take another break, but you can always get legal advice right now by calling Justin's office at 321-282-1055. Associates are standing by. We'll be right back.
Behind the Law is pre-recorded for TV, but you can ask your questions live on the radio Sundays at noon on News 96.5. And if you need legal advice right now, Justin's associates are standing by. Just give the offices of Gregory and Clark a call at 321-282-1055.
Was that is going to affect the adjustable rate mortgage people, right, if this continues to escalate. It's also going to affect the buying power of the person that could buy your home.
Stay tuned. Justin Clark will be right back with more Behind the Law. Welcome back to Behind the Law, the show that takes you behind the law and answers your toughest legal questions.
Welcome back to another edition of Behind the Law. I'm here with attorney Justin Clark, and today we're talking about all things mortgages. We're talking about HAMP, we're talking about HARP, and we're talking about extensions of those very important programs. And interest rates are starting to edge up.
The interest rates going up are scaring me a little bit. I know you guys, I didn't listen to the show yesterday. You and RP must have talked about the interest rates going up.
Yeah, Palmer talked about the fact that, 3 or 4 weeks ago, we were talking in the low threes. Robert Palmer, RP Funding, a great associate of this show. And RP was talking about the fact that we were talking in the low threes just 3 or 4 weeks ago. This week, on Friday, this last Friday, the rates actually jumped above 4 for part of the trading day. And as he explains, interest rates on homes, mortgage rates kind of fluctuate throughout the day, depending on sales and bonds and treasuries and all that. But without getting into the intricacies of that, it actually went up to 4.25 at one point, receded a bit to under 4 by the end of the business day. But now we're talking upper threes, low 4s, depending on your credit rating. And that, what Robert was talking about, was that is going to affect the adjustable rate mortgage people, right, if this continues to escalate. It's also going to affect the buying power of the person that could buy your home on a short sale or what have you, because if they were talking about a $250,000 house for a set amount of money, now they're talking about a home in the low 200s or even high 100s if they just want to have a payment of so much a month. So he's talking about how that could affect this and why it's being affected. So it's very, very much the time, according to RP, to get something going. If you're going to be in the real estate market, get it done.
And that's one of the huge differences between the HAMP modification and the HARP refinance. The HAMP modification is absolutely not based on interest rates whatsoever. Okay, they have the ability to go down to 2%, and it's all based on your income. And we've talked about it on the show a million times. 31% of your gross monthly income is what they want your mortgage payment to be, including principal, interest, taxes, insurance. So it has nothing to do with the market rates. It has everything to do with your ability to pay. So just because the rates are going up does not mean your HAMP rate is going to be more. So I think with the interest rates going up, maybe now is the time to look into the HAMP, maybe even instead of the HARP program, although they both can have have good results.
This could really help, wouldn't it, Justin, if somebody's had a household income drop, like the wife loses her job or the husband is cut back to half-time. That would be a perfect opportunity for a hemp.
Sure, because they're only going to look at your most recent pay stubs normally. And oftentimes if you're self-employed, this is a great time to do the hemp as well, because if you're self-employed, your income varies. I mean, that's all there is to it. And we're going to look at profit and loss statements. So maybe you even had more expenses last month, which makes your income drop, meaning your payment in a HAMP program is going to drop. So when we do modifications for people who are self-employed, it's a lot more work on us, but typically a lot better results for our clients because that income varies. So we can make it look like they didn't make a lot of money that month. I'm not saying we change the numbers, but it depends on how you look at the income. And so HAMP program is often a great way for self-employed people to get that interest rate down to 2%.
Now, oftentimes with the HARP, it's got to be a Fannie or a Freddie. What about with HAMP? Are there any restrictions on where the loan is being backed?
It's not. I will tell you the HAMP program is not only for Fannie and Freddie. It's like the HARP, as you said. You can only do HARP if you have a Fannie Mae-backed or Freddie Mac-backed mortgage. Under the HAMP program, it does not require you to have Fannie or Freddie. In fact, oftentimes it's worse for you to have Fannie or Freddie when you do a HAMP because they're not doing principal reductions. Whereas if it's not backed by Fannie or Freddie, oftentimes that lender might even reduce your principal balance.
All right, if you have calls, give us a buzz right now on the air at 407-297-9696 or 855-297-9696. Justin talking about what? Rising interest rates, also talking about the extension of HARP, extension of HAMP, and we've got a lot more to talk about on the show today, so make sure that you become a part of it. That's what makes it special when you're part of the show at 407-297-9696, 855-297-9696. We've got about 2 minutes before the break.
Let's talk a little bit more about Fannie and Freddie here, because again, if Fannie or Freddie, you can do the HARP program. If it's not Fannie or Freddie, you simply can't. And the big thing about the HARP program, which we haven't mentioned, is the HARP is a refinance for people who are underwater, meaning they're not going to do an appraisal necessarily to show that you have equity in your house. Because if you think about it, it doesn't make sense for a company to go in and loan more money than a house is worth because there's no security there. You see what I mean? So the HARP program is the government coming in and incentivizing these lenders to do mortgages for people who are underwater. But let's make no mistake, a HARP is a refinance. It's new money coming in to pay off the old money. And I've seen a lot of banks, let's say you have Bank X, okay? And Bank X calls you and says, okay, instead of doing the modification, we want you to do the HARP, and we want you to do it right through us. I think this is a horrendous idea because as incompetent as the banks are in doing modifications and dealing with my clients in the modification world, they're as incompetent when they're trying to do the HARP program in-house. The HARP should be easy. I mean, the HARP should be boom, 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 done, because we're not even doing an appraisal. So who cares? It should be very quick. I think if you're going to do a HARP, you need to do it through a local company that doesn't charge you any fees and not through your existing bank. That's been my experience.
There's been a lot of talk on this station and on RP show about that fact that it seems easy just to go with the lender you already have, but you may not get as good a deal as if you go outside and start over.
In fact, you won't, and it's going to be more headaches for you and more time-consuming, more headaches. And I think you should do it through a local person, not through the bank directly. And, but I still think that you need to look into both programs. You need to look into HAMP, and you need to look into HARP. And we can talk about this on the other side. HAMP has helped about 1.1 million people, but the government wants 3 million more people out there to help. And the average savings monthly payment-wise is $550. It's a lot of money.
Here's something to think about. Are you working on a short sale? Whether you're working on a short sale or in the market for one, the offices of Gregory and Clark can help you. Just give their office a call right now, 321-282-1055. We'll be right back.
You can find more Behind the Law on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Gregory and Clark, where there's plenty of past episodes with valuable information on how to save your home from the mortgage companies. Check it out.
But unfortunately, I've tried every which way to refinance under the HARP program, and the bank that I deal with wants to always charge me, $5,000 to refinance.
Stay tuned. Justin Clark will be right back with more Behind the Law. Welcome back to Behind the Law, the show that takes you behind the law and answers your toughest legal questions.
Welcome back. We are Behind the Law with Justin Clark of Gregory and Clark Attorneys at Law. The telephone numbers are 407-297-9696, or you could call Justin toll-free right now at 855-297-9696. You're listening to the show on News 96.5 and, of course, on Saturday mornings at 10:30, WRDQ TV 27. Be a part of the show. Call us right now, or you can call the office at 321-282-1055, 321-282-1055. Justin Clark, we have callers on the line, and I do believe that we have Nelson from Apopka. Nelson, how can we help you?
Hey, hi, good afternoon. Great show, and thank you for taking my call. I'm on disability. I'm disabled on a fixed income, and my mortgage is up to date. There's no problem there. But unfortunately, I've tried every which way to refinance under the HARP program, and the bank that I deal with wants to always charge me, $5,000 to refinance. But I heard your program under the
HAMP, H-A-M-P, you got it.
Right, and I'm wondering if I might be able to qualify under that, although I do have a Freddie Mac loan, and my credit is above 800.
Okay, I got you. What sort of disability income do you have coming in?
I receive about $1,300 a month. I have a 15-year-old son. He receives $700 a month. And my wife, she works part-time. But our credit is excellent. I've never fallen behind on my loan.
Yeah.
And in fact, I pay extra every year on the loan.
What's your interest rate at currently?
It is 5.5.
All right, and the total payment monthly, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, how much?
It's about, I think it's about $850 or $900 because I put down 33% when we purchased the home 8 years ago.
All right, so you're paying $850 a month. It looks like your gross income is around $2,000 a month. Is that right? You and your son?
About, yes.
Okay. I mean, so if you just do simple math, 2,000 times 31% is about $620. So it seems to me that the payment should go down under the HAMP program as well. The good thing about the HAMP program is there are no fees. If you do a HARP, it seems like you're paying about $4,000 to $6,000, which is typically added to your loan. You don't necessarily have to come out of pocket. But the great thing about HAMP is there are absolutely no fees whatsoever, and you can get the same result, oftentimes a better result, via a better interest rate. But because you're Freddie Mac, you will not get a principal reduction under the current HAMP guidelines for Fannie or Freddie. So you're still going to owe what you owe, but there's an excellent shot that they would reduce the interest rate. So, I think maybe you're one of these people that HAMP might be better than HARP for you and cheaper.
So how do I go about doing that?
I would probably come in and see me. Call us at 321-282-1055, or you can reach us on the website as well, gregory-clark.com. I'm happy to meet with you. I'm in the office on Saturdays, too, if you're busy during the week. And just come in and see me. I would never charge you to come in, of course. We'll sit down and talk. And if I think HAMP's the way to go, I'm going to tell you that. But I think if there's other opportunity as well, I'm a pretty straight shooter. I'll tell you exactly what I think is best.
Okay, would you repeat your number, 321?
Sure, Nelson. 321-282-1055, and you can just tell them you know Justin Clark, and I'll get you right in.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Clark.
Good deal. Thanks for the call.
We're going to take a short break, but before we go, are you struggling to make your mortgage payments? Refinancing your mortgage is an easy solution that could save your home. And Justin Clark has worked on hundreds of those cases. Just give the offices of Gregory and Clark a call right now at 321-282-1055, and a free consultation will give you some options. We'll be right back.
If you're having any legal problems that could cost you your home, remember that the offices of Gregory and Clark are your one-stop shop for saving your home. Short sales, foreclosure, bankruptcy, refinancing, it's all under one roof. Just give them a call right now at 321-282-1055, and you can schedule your free consultation. We'll be right back.
I wanted to know if I might be eligible for a HAMP, even though I received a HARP.
Okay.
November of 2009.
Stay tuned. Justin Clark will be right back with more Behind the Law. Welcome back to Behind the Law, the show that takes you behind the law and answers your toughest legal questions.
Go ahead, Janelle, with your question.
I've never done this before, so I'm a little nervous.
No, don't be nervous, please.
I wanted to know if I might be eligible for a HAMP, even though I received my brain just went dead on me. A HARP,
Okay.
November of 2009.
So you did the HARP in 2009?
Yes.
Or you did the HAMP? Are you sure it was the HARP
No,
that you
I
did?
did the HARP.
Okay. You might be. The HAMP program is for loans that were originated in 2009. I can't remember the exact day. What's your current payment right now?
It's around $650.
And what kind of income do you have coming in?
I'm retired for 2 years after an auto accident. I'm 70 years old, and that 30%, is that based on net or gross income?
It's based on your gross monthly income. 31% of your gross monthly income should be your mortgage payment, PITI, principal, interest, taxes, insurance.
Okay, so my annual gross my annual net is around 22. I can't read this. 22,949.31.
So you're about $22,000 a year gross. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So if you divide that by 12, I need a calculator here at the studio. I guess. So you have about $1,833 a month coming in, times 0.31. Your payment should be close to $568. So you're close there. What's the interest rate right now?
I think it's 4%, but there's something about closing an escrow that brought it up to 4.5. Does that make any sense? I don't really know what I'm talking about.
They might be talking about the actual APR as opposed to the actual interest rate. The APR is really what it cost you, I guess, so to speak. I think maybe you want to come in and see me. You live over in Palm Bay. I'm not too far away. Give us a call at 321-282-1055, and let's see if the HAMP's something that you should do. It might be, might not be. I'm not quite convinced either way yet. I'd like to sit down and talk to you. I would never charge you for a consultation, of course, like everyone. And I'll sit down and we'll go through everything. How is that?
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome, Janelle.
That'll wrap up our discussion, but there's still so much to talk about that could save your home. So if you have questions, give the offices of Gregory and Clark a call right now at 321-282-1055. There's never a charge for a consultation, and it could save your home. We'll see you again next week right here on TV 27.
Thank you for watching Behind the Law with Justin Clark. Be sure to join us again next week as Justin takes you behind the law and answers your legal questions.